I had been in a secret relationship with Ethan, my brother's best friend, for 5 years. We had planned to announce it publicly on New Year's Eve, but at the banquet, he didn't mention it at all. Instead, he leaned close to my ear and half-jokingly said, "I'm tired of sleeping with you. Why don't you find someone else to marry?" I remained calm, nodded, and said, "All right," because in my past life, I had cried and begged him, swearing I would marry no one but him, and in the end, I did. But after I became his wife, he remained cold and indifferent. Even during our most intimate moments, he kept his eyes shut the entire time, and when I was in labor, hemorrhaging heavily, he completely ignored me. He was too busy celebrating his first love's birthday at Disneyland. That moment, I finally understood. Love that is begged for is destined to fade. Now, in this life, I smiled and said, "I'm tired of you too. Let's break up." Hearing me say that, Ethan froze for a second. He thought he must have misheard. The woman who used to explode at the slightest provocation was suddenly obedient and calm. His teasing tone disappeared, and he looked at me seriously. "Nora, do you even understand what I just said?" I kept my usual light smile and replied, "Of course. Didn't you just tell me to find someone else?" In my past life, if he had said something like that, I would have lashed out like a furious cat, clawing at him until he apologized. But this time, I chose to let him go, and to free myself. Ethan frowned. "Nora, what's wrong with you today?" Before he could finish, the sound of glass shattering came from the next table. A moment later, a woman in a white dress ran out crying. The sudden commotion made people at nearby tables turn to look. My brother, Ryan, nudged Ethan with his elbow. "Hey, wasn't that your ex who just stormed out? What? You invited her here tonight? Man, it's New Year's. Breaking stuff like that is bad luck. Don't tell me she's here because of you." Ethan's expression darkened. He stood up and strode toward the exit. Not long after, the sound of crying outside faded into hushed whispers, like lovers murmuring to each other. Dishes continued to be served at the banquet. I paid no attention and simply kept eating. With each dish that arrived, I instinctively picked up a portion and placed it in Ethan's small bowl. This was a habit of mine ever since I had known him. He often received work calls in the middle of meals and would leave his food untouched. Every time I did this, Ryan would get jealous. "Seriously? You're giving Ethan food again? You don't even treat your own brother this well. I swear, you like that guy, don't you?" More than once, I had almost blurted out the truth, but Ethan would always pull away immediately, ruffle my hair like a little sister, and laugh. "She's like a little sister to me." And I understood exactly what he meant. He never wanted to make our relationship public. For 5 whole years, he never posted anything about me, not even privately, where only I could see. It was as if he didn't want to leave any trace that we had ever been in love, but because I loved him so desperately, I was willing to stay in the shadows. Seeing me quietly eating, Ryan teased, "Aren't you gonna check on Ethan? Careful, or he might run off with another girl." My hand, holding the chopsticks, hesitated for a moment. What does it have to do with me if he does? I'm just his little sister. No need to bother him. Ryan studied me carefully, as if trying to read something from my face. Today was Ethan's birthday. We had agreed to announce our relationship today, but I hadn't expected him to invite his first love, Sophia. Just then, Ethan returned, with Sophia. Her eyes were red from crying. Ethan held her hand, gently comforting her. Ryan let out a low whistle. "Ethan, Sophia, are you two back together?" At those words, Ethan's head snapped up. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes. "What nonsense are you talking about? We're just old classmates. I was just checking in on her. What's wrong with that?" But Ryan shamelessly leaned in. "I'm your old classmate too. How about checking in on me?" Ethan laughed and shoved him away. "Get lost." Seeing how Sophia nestled against him, I pulled Ryan aside. "Come on, big bro, don't disturb Ethan and Sophia's little love story. Let's just eat." "All right." I smiled sweetly as I looked at Ethan. "Isn't that right, Ethan?" Hearing me call him by his full name, Ethan froze for a second. He looked at me with an unreadable expression but said nothing. Sophia left the table shortly after, and as soon as she was gone, Whispers erupted around us. I knew it. First loves always have a hold on you. Look at how they interacted tonight. They're definitely getting back together. Of course. Back then, Sophia had kidney failure and urgently needed a transplant. Ethan didn't even hesitate before giving her his kidney. He wasn't even fully recovered himself. Yet he stayed in the hospital taking care of her. Nearly gave up his life for her. Sophia had returned home this time. They would never be apart again. Hearing those words, my heart ached so much that I could barely breathe. So their destinies had always been intertwined, while I had been nothing but a fool, clinging to a relationship that could never see the light of day. In my past life, after I married Ethan, everything changed. He never touched me again. We slept in separate rooms. Even during meals, he insisted we use separate sets of chopsticks. It wasn't until his parents started pressuring him to have children that he reluctantly held me in his arms just to complete the task. That night, he demanded that we turn off the lights. He kept his eyes closed the entire time, as if he was enduring some unbearable humiliation. The very next day, he spent the night at Sophia's place and didn't come home. One winter, I developed a severe thyroid tumor and was so weak that I couldn't even get out of bed. I begged him to take me to the hospital, but he impatiently refused, using work as an excuse. In reality, he was at a nail salon with Sophia, watching as she got her nails done. The staff even complimented them, calling them a loving couple. When I went into labor, I bled heavily at home, crying. I called him, hoping he would come, but he exploded in frustration. It's just childbirth. It's not like you're dying. What's there to cry about? Take a taxi to the hospital yourself. I'm busy. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Before I could say another word, he ended the call. When I tried calling back, his phone was turned off. Yet, at that exact moment, Sophia was posting pictures on social media. 8 posts in a row, all from Disneyland, where Ethan was celebrating her birthday. In every single post, right at the center of the photo grid, there was an image of Ethan and Sophia kissing. That was the moment I lost all will to live. Ethan, if you never loved me, then what was the point of keeping this child? I cut off all means of survival, threw my phone out the window, and watched as the pool of blood beneath me grew larger and larger. I died from excessive blood loss. Even then, Ethan still thought I was just putting on an act. At the birthday banquet, now that Ethan was gone, the atmosphere quickly returned to normal. Without him, the guests simply went on enjoying themselves. I, however, had lost all interest. After finishing my meal, I left. Ethan, who used to text me every 3 minutes, was surprisingly silent tonight. Outside, fireworks exploded in celebration of the new year. But I felt no joy. At exactly 12:10 a.m., a burst of fireworks lit up my window. Right then, Ethan, who rarely posted on social media, suddenly updated his feed. The photo showed Sophia peacefully asleep on his shoulder, looking soft and gentle. His caption was just a single word. Within 1 minute of posting, the comment section exploded with messages. Wishing you to a lifetime of happiness. Congrats on your marriage. May you love each other forever. I absent-mindedly liked the post, but when I refreshed the page, it had already disappeared. The next second, I received a message from Sophia. Ethan took me home. I accidentally fell asleep on his shoulder. It's so late, and I didn't feel comfortable letting him go back alone, so I told him to stay at my place for the night. You don't mind, do you? I simply replied with a faint From now on, whoever Ethan chose to be with, whatever he did, it had nothing to do with me anymore. Just as I was about to go to sleep, I received another message. This time, it was from Ethan. What's wrong? You two are already so in sync now. Sophia just got back from abroad. She didn't have time to buy new clothes for the new year. Didn't you buy a few new outfits? Let her borrow one tomorrow. The malls are closed, and I'm worried she won't be able to get anything in time. Seeing that message, the frustration that had been simmering inside me all night finally reached its breaking point. The new clothes I bought for myself, I hadn't even worn them yet. And now I was supposed to give them to the woman he loved the most? Who exactly was he to me? I refused to reply and simply turned off my phone in frustration. The next morning, I never expected Ethan to actually show up at my house. with Sophia. At exactly 10 a.m., our doorbell rang. Ryan got up to answer it. When he opened the door, there stood Ethan and Sophia, carrying an armful of gifts. My entire family happily welcomed them in. Ethan had lost his parents at a young age and was raised by his grandmother. Ethan had been our neighbor since childhood, and my parents had long considered him half a son. When he walked in, he glanced at me deeply. My mom smiled at Sophia and said, "So, you're Ethan's girlfriend? It's been years since we last saw you. You've become so much prettier." Sophia responded sweetly, "Thank you, Auntie. It's been years, but you're just as youthful as ever." She was truly good with words. In just a few sentences, she had my parents smiling from ear to ear. "Nora, what are you still doing in your room? Hurry up and come greet your Ethan and Sophia." I obediently poured tea for Ethan and Sophia, politely handing them the cups. "Happy New Year, Ethan. Happy New Year, Sophia." Ethan's expression grew even more unreadable as he looked at me. When I went to the bathroom, he suddenly sent me a message. "Are you mad at me?" I read it and left him on read. During lunch, there was a small moment of tension regarding our seating arrangements. I sat in my usual spot at the table, but Ethan, without saying a word, took the seat right next to me. That was supposed to be Ryan's seat. Ryan glanced at Ethan, then at the empty chair beside Sophia, his eyes widening in disbelief. "Damn, why are you taking my seat? Sit next to your girlfriend." He playfully tried to pull Ethan up. After some light banter, Ethan finally moved and sat across from me. But as soon as he did, I felt as if I were sitting on needles. He stared at me with dark, unreadable eyes. I avoided his gaze and focused on my meal. Midway through lunch, he stepped away to take a call. As I ate, I noticed his bowl still empty. I swallowed my food and, for the first time in years, made the conscious choice to ignore it. When he returned, he glanced at his bowl, then at me. Ryan quickly noticed and hurried to explain. "Come on, man. It's just family. No one's going to fight you for food. Don't make it hard for Nora." Right then, my mom looked back and forth between Ethan and me, her expression full of unspoken meaning. Then, out of nowhere, she turned to me and asked, "Nora, look at your Ethan. He's already brought his girlfriend home. When are you planning to bring a boyfriend back?" Ethan parted his lips slightly, as if he wanted to say something, but before he could, I cut him off. "Mom, Dad, Ryan, if you have someone to introduce, go ahead and set me up." In the past, whenever this topic came up, I would immediately refuse. But this time, the moment I responded differently. Ryan was so overwhelmed with emotion that he dramatically wiped away non-existent tears and patted my shoulder. "Nora, you've finally come to your senses. If you're serious, I'll set up a date for you right after this meal." I laughed. "Sure." Instinctively, my gaze flickered toward Ethan. His lips were pressed tightly together, and his expression had turned visibly dark. Just as everyone was laughing and chatting, Ethan suddenly interrupted. "Auntie, you're joking. Sophia is just an old classmate of mine." The room fell silent. My mom looked momentarily stunned, and the smile on Sophia's face froze. Ryan, always the troublemaker, seized the opportunity. "So, you're still single? Want me to set you up with Nora?" My heart, already fragile, clenched painfully at his words. Ethan immediately shoved Ryan's shoulder. "Stop messing around. Nora is like a little sister to me." That moment, whatever lingering hope I had was completely crushed. I took a deep breath, forcing a natural smile onto my face. "That's right, Ryan, don't joke around. Ethan is my second brother." After lunch, Ethan left with Sophia. For the next few days, we had no contact. I carried on with my life, eating well, drinking well, and enthusiastically attending every gathering with friends. On the evening of the 5th day of the new year, Ryan had a class reunion. Since I had no plans, he insisted on dragging me along. I went to bed early, refusing to go no matter what. But Ryan insisted, saying, "Tonight is a crucial moment in Ethan's life. As his little sister, you have to witness it." It wasn't until we arrived at the gathering that I found out Sophia planned to use this event to officially ask Ethan to get back together. According to the others, Their relationship had visibly grown closer since she returned, and the chances of them reconciling were extremely high. One of Ryan's classmates, who worked at a jewelry store, suddenly mentioned, "Ethan came to our store 2 days ago to pick out a ring. It's almost certainly for Sophia." Most of Ryan's classmates were familiar to me, and when they saw me, many came over to greet me. They complimented how much prettier I had become and joked that I should pick a single guy from the group. I laughed and played along, blending easily into their banter. From a short distance away, Ethan silently watched, saying nothing. Before dinner began, Sophia pulled me aside. "Nora, I know Ethan treats you really well. He listens to everything you say. So later, when I confess my feelings to him, could you help say a few nice things about me? It'll increase my chances of success." She looked gentle and kind, but beneath that soft facade was a cruel heart. She knew I had feelings for Ethan, yet because he refused to make our relationship public, I had no choice but to endure in silence. Now, she was deliberately using my love for him to make me suffer even more. But what she didn't know was that after everything I had experienced in my past life, I had already given up on him completely. I flashed an even brighter smile than hers. "Of course. Don't worry. I'll do my best to help you too." Sophia smirked slightly and returned to the private dining room. At the dinner table, for some inexplicable reason, Ethan suddenly started piling food onto my plate, just like how I used to do for him in the past. When the server brought out a dish of braised chicken and he placed a piece in my bowl, I calmly raised my hand to stop him. "Ethan, I'm all grown up now. I can serve myself. You should give it to Sophia instead." The piece of chicken awkwardly hovered in midair. Sophia quickly picked up her bowl and took it from him. "Ethan, for all we know, Nora might already have someone she likes. You should stop worrying about her." As she spoke, the classmates around us suddenly stood up one by one to toast Sophia, welcoming her back home. Just as Sophia was about to take a sip of her wine, Ethan reached over and snatched the glass from her hand. "Sophia, you can't handle alcohol. I'll drink this for you." The moment he finished speaking, he tilted his head back and downed the entire glass in one go. The crowd erupted into applause and cheers. One drink led to another, and soon Ethan's face was tinged with a faint flush. Sophia reached out to stop him, her voice soft and dripping with concern. "Ethan, you don't have to drink so much for me." I wasn't sure if Ethan was already drunk, but he looked at Sophia with unmistakable tenderness. "It's fine. You can't drink, and they're clearly trying to mess with you." His words sent a ripple of excitement through the crowd. I knew that the most critical moment of Ethan's life was about to unfold. Sophia's cheeks were flushed. Her lips slightly parted as she gazed at Ethan with deep affection. "Ethan, after all these years, I still can't forget you. Can we get back together? Say yes. Say yes." The crowd began to chant, fueling the atmosphere. Ethan hesitated, seemingly caught off guard by how the situation had escalated. Everything was perfectly staged. The heroine had courageously declared her love. Now all that was left was for the leading man to nod in agreement. A love story that would have everyone's blessing. A picture-perfect couple, moments away from reuniting. I watched them standing together under the spotlight. I joined in the applause and cheered. Sophia is such a devoted and beautiful girl. She's truly one of a kind. "Ethan, why haven't you nodded and agreed yet?" Ethan's face darkened with shock as he stared at me. "Nora, what the hell is wrong with you? Aren't you my girlfriend? Why are you encouraging this?" The moment those words left his mouth, the entire room fell into stunned silence. Ryan was the first to react. He turned to Ethan, then to me, his face full of disbelief. "Nora, what did he just call you?" "His girlfriend." I remained calm, offering him a small smile. "Ryan, can't you see that Ethan's drunk? He's just messing around." Ethan didn't look amused at all. He pushed Sophia aside and strode toward me. I instinctively took a step back. Right then, the sharp sound of glass shattering filled the room. Ethan turned around just in time to see Sophia standing there, her face pale, her leg now streaked with blood from a fresh cut caused by the broken glass. Her fair skin contrasted starkly with the deep red of the wound. It was a shocking sight. Ethan's brows immediately furrowed in distress. Without hesitation, he scooped her up in his arms. Sophia, however, shot me a quick glance before curling into his embrace, her voice carrying a hint of pitiful vulnerability. Ethan, there are so many people watching. Put me down, or they might misunderstand our relationship. Shouldn't you be checking on Nora instead? She seems upset. Her voice wasn't too loud, yet it carried clearly across the room. She had said it deliberately, trying to lure Ethan into openly declaring his relationship with her in front of everyone. But unexpectedly, Ethan's face remained unreadable. He glanced at me briefly before turning away. Ignore her. Let's get you to the hospital first. And with that, he carried Sophia out of the private dining room. The moment they left, Ryan wasted no time sliding over to me, his face full of gossip. Ethan can drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk. So, what exactly is going on between you two? Knowing Ryan's big mouth, I decided to keep the truth to myself. I shook my head. There's nothing going on. Maybe he was just caught off guard by Sophia's confession. Ryan still wanted to press for more, but I waved him off, brushing the topic aside. I never should have come to this reunion in the first place. As soon as dinner was over, I made an excuse to leave. Walking alone on the street, I was surrounded by couples, groups of friends, and families. They were all smiling, setting off fireworks together, basking in the festive joy of the new year. I suddenly felt that this whole celebration was meaningless. Quickened my pace, wanting to go home, wash up, and sleep. Just as I was about to reach my apartment complex, Ethan appeared out of nowhere. I immediately sped up, rushing toward the entrance, but he beat me to it, stepping in front to block my way. I tried to sidestep him, but he forcefully pulled me into his arms. If I had never lived through my past life, perhaps I would have clung to the warmth of his embrace, letting myself collapse into his chest and cry my heart out. But in this lifetime, I coldly pushed him away. Ethan, this is the entrance to my home. If my parents see this, they'll misunderstand. His outstretched hand froze mid-air before he slowly retracted it. Sometimes, I just couldn't understand him. If he thought I wasn't worthy, then why did he insist on keeping me by his side? His voice turned sharp as he demanded, "What was that tonight? Why were you egging them on?" I shrugged indifferently. Was I wrong? Sophia has never stopped loving you, and you risked your life for her once. You nearly lost everything for her. You two are perfect for each other. Getting back together makes complete sense. I was simply stating the truth, but Ethan took it another way. For the first time, he let out a quiet laugh and asked, "And what about you? Have you forgotten your place? Who was the one who said that if I ever got too close to another girl, someone would get jealous?" Ethan. I met his gaze and spoke each word with deliberate clarity. "We are over." The moment those words left my lips, Ethan finally panicked. "Who said we broke up? I don't allow it." "Don't allow what?" Before I could respond, Ryan's loud voice came from behind. I turned around and smiled. Ethan wanted to pick out a ring for Sophia, so he came to ask me what kind of styles girls like. He said if I didn't give him a serious answer, he wouldn't let me go home. Ethan's expression darkened instantly. He grabbed my wrist, about to say something, but Ryan interrupted. "If the ring is for her, why not ask her directly? What are you asking Nora for? Unless you're actually buying it for her." At Ryan's final remark, Ethan's ears reddened slightly. I pried his fingers off my arm, one by one, and spoke calmly. "Since you've decided to get back together with Sophia, you should go take care of her. She's hurt. She needs you." "Nora, do you even hear yourself? Who said I'm getting back together with her?" Ethan's voice rose in frustration, drawing attention from passers-by. Ryan frowned. "Damn, Ethan, what's with you? Whether you get back with Sophia or not is your business. Why are you taking it out on Nora?" Ethan looked like he wanted to argue further, but I nudged Ryan and said, "It's freezing. Let's just go home." The moment I stepped through my front door, before I even had time to take off my shoes, my phone rang. It was Ethan. I hung up immediately. He refused to give up and called again. Eventually, he sent a message. "What time are you going to sleep? I'll come over later. I have a lot to say to you. Let's talk." Okay. I didn't want to keep getting tangled up with him. Without hesitation, I turned off my phone. But just as I turned off the lights and lay down, there was a knock on my bedroom door. "Nora, someone's looking for you. Come out." I pulled the blanket over my head. "Whatever it is, tell them to come back tomorrow." "It's Sophia." My eyes snapped open. My brows furrowed. Why was she looking for me? Outside the door, Sophia stood there holding several elegantly wrapped gift bags. She smiled sweetly. "I brought back some skincare products from abroad. I wanted to give them to you earlier, but I forgot." The moment my bedroom door closed, her smile disappeared. I didn't feel like playing nice either. I got straight to the point. "You came here for something else, didn't you?" Sophia dropped the act entirely. She walked over, casually sat down on the chair, and crossed her legs like she owned the place. "Nora, I won't beat around the bush. I know that while I was abroad these past few years, you and Ethan got very close. But I'm back now. I'll be marrying him and starting a family with him. I hope you can keep your distance from him." A question mark practically popped up in my head. "I think you're misunderstanding something. Ethan and I are just like siblings. Are you done? So, please leave. I want to sleep." I wasn't even close with her to begin with, and now she was slapping labels on me out of nowhere. It was both ridiculous and irritating. But the next second, Sophia's expression twisted with frustration. "If it weren't for you, Ethan and I would have gotten back together tonight. Stop pretending. You know damn well that Ethan likes you." If this had been my past life, I would have confidently told her, "Yes, Ethan loves me." But now, I saw things clearly. Deep down, Ethan still had feelings for Sophia. I looked her straight in the eye and repeated, "Ethan and I are just like siblings. Now and forever. That will never change. If you love him, go after him. But don't waste your time on me." Sophia was speechless. She stood there, unable to say another word for a long time. In the end, she left the bags of gifts behind and walked away without saying anything else. But after she left, I didn't feel any relief after sending Sophia away. Instead, I felt even more frustrated. In my past life, right after Ethan and I publicly announced our engagement, Sophia came to see me in private. I had assumed she was there to stir up trouble. But to my surprise, she was eerily calm. She took out her phone and began scrolling through her chat history with Ethan, showing me everything from the very beginning. From their first polite exchanges after adding each other as friends to the slow process of getting to know each other, to their first date, their first confession, and eventually becoming a couple. Even after they had broken up and Sophia had gone abroad, they had maintained an ongoing connection, one that seemed friendly on the surface but was laced with an undeniable intimacy. She looked at me, the light in her eyes dimming before a hint of satisfaction flickered through. "Do you see now? The person Ethan truly loves is me. Even if you marry him, it won't change anything. His heart will never belong to you. He didn't marry you because he loved you. It was just out of obligation." But I refused to believe it. I convinced myself that cold, emotionless chat records couldn't compare to the bond built from spending every day together. Yet, I had no idea. Sophia had been right all along. That night, I barely slept. Even when the sun rose, I was still wide awake. Ryan knocked on my door from outside. "Nora, didn't you say you wanted to start dating? I have a friend who just got back from abroad today. He's in the medical field, just like you. Want to meet him?" I instantly perked up. Sure. Out with the old, in with the new. Right now, the best way to distract myself was by meeting new people. Seeing how motivated I was, my mom sighed. "Looks like you've really grown up." I laughed at myself. I guess I have. All thanks to Ethan. Ryan's friend was straightforward. He quickly set a time for the meetup and even asked for my contact information, telling Ryan to send me his WeChat. When I added him, I noticed his profile picture was a black cat. I felt an unexpected sense of familiarity, probably because my own profile picture was also a cat. He messaged me, "Let's meet at the Hunan restaurant near your place tomorrow." "How did you know I like spicy food?" I asked, pleasantly surprised. "Just a guess." I had to admit, I appreciated the effort he put into researching me in advance. On my way to the meetup the next day, Ethan kept calling me nonstop. Annoyed, I kept rejecting his calls. When I refused to pick up, he switched to texting. "Nora, where are you? I'm coming to find you. We need to talk." Nora, can you reply to me? I don't want things to become distant between us. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb mode and walked into the restaurant. Under the guidance of a waiter, I headed toward the reserved table. From afar, I spotted a man sitting by the window, a refined-looking guy with glasses. That must be Ryan's friend. At our first meeting, he was already quite thoughtful. He took out a small gift for me, a beautifully carved wooden music box. When he gently wound it up, a pleasant melody played. The sound of birds chirping and a stream flowing intertwined with the music, creating a relaxing atmosphere. Seeing my delighted expression, he suddenly said, "I made this myself." I was shocked. "You're a doctor, and you can make something like this too." He looked a little shy but also proud. His subtle expressions were charming, like a child showing off their handiwork. My grandfather was a carpenter. I learned from him when I was little. I gave him a thumbs up, feeling a newfound admiration for this talented guy. As we chatted over our meal, I found his presence to be genuinely comfortable. Just as we were about to finish eating, I half-jokingly said, "This is our first time meeting, and you're already giving me such an expensive gift. I don't even know how to return the favor. I can't paint or sing." Eric chuckled. "No worries. Just meeting again next time can be my return gift." As we laughed and chatted, a familiar voice suddenly rang out behind me. The moment I heard it, my good mood shattered completely. I turned around to see Ethan standing in front of me, looking utterly exhausted. "Nora, do you have any idea how hard I've been looking for you?" He was slightly out of breath, hands resting on his knees, looking as if he had run all the way here. When he noticed Eric sitting across from me, his expression instantly darkened. He strode over and yanked me up from my seat. "I kept calling and texting you, but you ignored every single one. Really, Nora, you haven't even properly broken up with me, and now you're already rushing to go on dates with other men." His voice wasn't too loud, but it was enough to make several nearby tables glance over. His grip on my wrist hurt. I struggled to pull away, but he only tightened his hold. "Ethan, stop talking nonsense. I broke up with you on your birthday, and you agreed to it. I'm single now. Who I date is none of your business." Ethan was completely infuriated. He suddenly leaned in, attempting to kiss me in public. I instinctively tried to slap him, but both of my hands were restrained. Just then, a strong arm extended between us. Eric effortlessly shoved Ethan aside and shielded me behind him. "Sir, if you don't stop, I'll have to report you for harassment." "Who the hell are you?" Ethan snapped, his temper flaring. "I'm talking to my girlfriend. Get out of my way." As he spoke, he grabbed Eric's collar, trying to push him aside. But unfortunately for him, Eric was taller and stronger. Instead, Ethan found himself lifted off the ground by both shoulders. "Let go of me." Ethan struggled. Eric remained calm. "With that violent attitude of yours, I find it hard to believe you're actually her boyfriend. What if you're just some random creep trying to drag her away? Everyone, don't you think that's possible?" His composed and gentlemanly demeanor quickly won over the surrounding onlookers. Realizing he was at a disadvantage, Ethan finally gave up struggling. But the moment Eric let him go, Ethan suddenly lunged at him again. The two men crashed onto the ground, fists flying. Even the restaurant security couldn't pull them apart. Expressionless, I pulled out my phone and called the police. Then, I dialed Sophia's number. "Come and get your boyfriend under control." Her response was cold. "Don't call me about Ethan ever again. We're never getting back together." Before I could reply, she hung up. I stared at my phone, confused. What was that about? At the police station, both men received a stern warning and were soon released. The moment we stepped outside, Ethan kept his eyes locked on me, clearly agitated. I sighed. "Ethan, please stop harassing me." As soon as I finished speaking, he blurted out, "That night, I was drunk. It was just a joke. I didn't mean it. Nora, I never planned on getting back together with Sophia. The person I love has always been you." I let out a cold laugh. "You keep saying you love me, but why did you keep me hidden for 5 years? Ethan, you don't love me. You only love yourself." With that, I turned to leave. Ethan immediately followed, clinging to me like a lost dog. "If you keep following me, I'm calling the police." Eric stepped in to block his path. and Ethan was finally forced to stop. He could only watch as we walked away. I never expected that the very next morning, Ethan would announce our relationship to the entire world. I was still asleep when Ryan banged on my bedroom door. "Nora, get out here. I have something important to ask you." Barely awake, I groggily opened the door, only to find Ethan standing next to Ryan. My instincts kicked in, and I immediately tried to close the door, but Ryan blocked it with his foot. "Nora, Ethan just confessed everything to me. Do you have anything you want to explain?" I remained calm. "There's nothing to explain. He and I are just sworn siblings." Ryan narrowed his eyes. "Really? Because Ethan just told me you two have been dating for 5 years. Care to explain that?" Hearing those words, I smiled. "All right then. We supposedly dated for 5 years. Ethan, do you have any proof?" Ethan opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. In 5 years of dating, he had never posted anything about me on social media. The few posts that did include me were always group photos with Ryan. In 5 years, the only gifts we exchanged were food and drinks. He never wanted to leave behind anything tangible. He was afraid of being found out. I had once questioned it. I had felt hurt. He told me I was still young, that my family wouldn't approve. But I wasn't young anymore. I had been with him since I was 18. Now, I was 23. And yet, Ethan couldn't provide a single piece of evidence. Suddenly, as if he had thought of something, he said, "You still have our photos on your phone, don't you? Show Ryan." I did, but the ones I had kept were only from outings with Ryan. Any pictures of just the two of us, I had already deleted them. Ryan, who had been silently listening to our conversation, finally lost patience. "Ethan, are you out of your damn mind? You're saying you two dated for 5 years, but there's not a single shred of proof? Not even one." Ryan shot Ethan a look of disbelief. "Are you sure you were even in a relationship? What kind of man dates like this?" Ethan looked like he still wanted to argue his case, but Ryan had lost all patience. "Nora, tell him the truth." Ethan turned to me, desperate. "Nora, don't you remember what I told you? Don't you remember how you said you loved me?" Hearing his words, I felt nothing but disgust. "Ryan, I think Ethan's still drunk. Get him out of here." After that, I blocked Ethan on everything. I had made myself clear. Any further attempts to reach me would be harassment. But Ethan still showed up at my house several times, causing such a scene that even my parents had to chase him away with a broom. My parents were baffled. What's wrong with this boy? Has he lost his mind? Maybe he fought with Sophia and is using Nora as a backup. Under Ryan's persistent questioning, I finally told him the truth about my past 5 years with Ethan. He didn't scold me. Instead, he gently patted my head, looking heartbroken. "You're such an idiot. Why didn't you tell me anything? If I had known Ethan was this much of a bastard, I would have cut ties with him years ago." He looked at me seriously. "Nora, listen to me. Any man who makes you suffer in a relationship, don't keep him around. Cut him off. Clean and sharp. Understand?" I nodded. When my break ended, I returned to work at the hospital. One day, I overheard the nurses gossiping at the reception desk. "Did you hear? There's a new surgeon in the department. He's tall, handsome, and graduated from a prestigious medical school abroad." When they mentioned his last name, my heart skipped a beat, but I quickly dismissed the thought. The world is huge. It can't be that much of a coincidence. Then, the next morning, I saw a giant welcome banner at the hospital entrance. They were even holding a welcoming ceremony. And that's when I realized the new surgeon was Eric. Amidst the applause, he spotted me. His gaze softened, and he smiled at me. A smile that lasted so long that the people around us began to follow his line of sight. A nurse nudged me. "Hey, do you two know each other?" I quickly denied it. "No, today's the first time I'm meeting Dr. Eric." But before I could say more, Eric walked up to me and extended his hand. "Nora, what a coincidence." The whispers around us grew louder. Within a month, the entire hospital knew that Eric was pursuing me. He would wait for me after my shifts and bring me snacks whenever I worked night duty. Because of him, I had gained nearly 5 pounds. Our relationship had grown ambiguous, just one step away from crossing that line. Then, one day, I saw Ethan at the hospital. I hadn't seen him in over 2 months, and this time, he wasn't alone. He was accompanying a woman. When I saw her face, I was momentarily stunned. She looked a lot like me. Ethan noticed me, his steps faltering before he quickly walked toward me. I immediately turned and pushed my way through the crowd, heading toward the elevator, wanting to get as far away as possible. But in my rush, I accidentally collided into a firm chest. Eric didn't push me away. Instead, he pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly in an intimate embrace. People around us started whispering. I turned back just as the elevator doors were closing. Through the narrowing gap, I saw Ethan standing there, watching us with a lost, desolate expression. But inside me, I felt nothing. This was our final goodbye. From this moment on, Ethan no longer had a place in my world.